And now you have to go kind of into that coffee shop, and you have to go with this over and over thing that's going to display whenever you go with them. So welcome to the S3E2 episode. Today I'm going to cover one of the things that the title of the video is really going to give you a motivation for the 2026 if you're in the gym or whatever the fuck you are. But it's important to understand that in this case, the context, what I mean by that is avoiding broken record people's meeting is I have to go with those type of same people who are going to tell you and exactly repeat the same old things over and over again, which is quite honestly a waste of time. So what do I mean by that? So you had back in the day when you were in high school and university or even at your work, so you always had like that group of people that they would repeat themselves over and over again, just trying to get a feeling who you are as a person. If they can be comfortable around you, even if they drink like 3 to 4 pints of beer, they're still going to slur words and make no sense of what the fuck they're saying. But the overall topic, the repentance, is always the same questions and the same thing and the same attitude and the same arguments about like a let's say fictional TV show, fictional characters, books, movies, and you know, people going to clash about that, especially if you combine in Sorabendia, if you combine politics and history, that right there in tavern is going to be like a really clusterfuck of people arguing amongst themselves and figuring out if they will be the best Stefan Dusan or the best Kralj Milutin or whatever the fuck. So the point is that I'm not talking about those specific topics. You can actually give your opinion to the people, but it's always more important when you look back in your life, and you have to understand that people like to really waste time if you don't like them really that much. So that's why this video is upside down, because if you listen to the people and you go to the broken record meetings of those people, exact same people, your life is going to be like this as this current video I'm filming or currently making. The point I'm trying to make is that if you have to find those people who actually challenge you and they give you will. What I mean by that is that when you go out into a coffee shop, into any restaurant or joint, or pizza joint, burger joint, or whatever the fuck, you need to have like a group of people who you're actually happy. But happy is a complex topic, but we mean that you're actually excited, you actually want to go with them and just express what have you seen, what have you heard, just to tell them how you feel from inside, and they go with vice versa with that same reciprocity of those exact same opinions. And when you collide, it's always like a magic. When it's spontaneous, it's always the best thing possible, the best case possible. Now, the broken record meetings consist of people talking about the past. They talk about something that you were even like 10 to 15 years ago, even 20, but let's say 10, 15 years ago. Unfortunately, unknown to them, unbeknownst to them, the person that you were back then no longer exists, and that world itself that we were taught that we should live in no longer exists, and it's turned upside down. And now this is the current state of the 21st century, the current state of the human socialization and the human interaction. So, but it's basically brought down to this up and as above, so below horror picture. But you have to understand that, I'll give an example, since the gym is the most mainstream visitation of that kind. When you look at some people that you go there in trying to lift weights, bench press, you know, running, whatever the fuck, you kind of see that there are some people, not all people, some people that you don't want to be hanged around with, because they usually kind of waste of time. I'm pretty sure that you've seen those type of people just going back and forth, either staring or just watching people pass by and doing their weights or stuff. And you're kind of saying to yourself, why the fuck are 5 to 6 retards just standing there like NPC characters from GTA San Andreas or GTA 5 Vice City, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But you have to see that these people are also doomed to bring you to their levels of conversation and beat you with experience with stupid people, like Mark Twain used to say. That you have to see that in this context it's very important that you keep your principles and start to avoid them, because they are going to repeat the same question. It's always the same thing. You actually know, if you go in downtown of those cities that you currently live in and you're going to sit down with those type of people, they're going to ask you the exact same questions, the exact same positions, the exact same things they have been experiencing back and forth, and you know, overall. But you have to say to yourself that, am I really worth my time and oxygen to really spend with them? Because I'm not talking about you to this condescending figure of mine that's currently upside down on your video. I'm talking about a situation where you just have to avoid asking and repeating your answers in the same questions. So the broken record meetings are when people who don't like you kind of tell you what you should have do in life, which is, in itself in advance kind of a waste of time. But you have to look at the better picture, and the bigger picture is that you have to challenge and find the people who actually challenge you to be a better person of yourself. That is exactly, in order for your life to be upside down on a different position as all of my previous videos in the first 3 seasons, you have to really go out there and try to risk. Without risk, there is no reward, I'm not talking about that no pain, no gain bullshit. I'm talking about, in order for you to find better sort of category of people that actually are supporting your intelligence and actually fitable to your intelligence, perception, or wise, or in general, you just have to find and go out there, maybe in a different city, maybe in a different location, a different place. If the time is right and the situation is correct, I might find somebody who actually suits me, where we can talk, hang out on social media, whatever the fuck. But you have to understand that you have to give time as well. The time is being taken away from you when you go to that broken record meetings. But you have to see that with the new people, you have to give them time, because they're not possible for them to know you that much very fast. You have to give it, let's say 5 months, 6 months, or 7 months in that context. But the point is that you have to be very patient with the new people, because you shouldn't repeat the same mistakes that you had with the previous group. So in that previous group, they usually would have to either bring you down, or you would have to, just tell them to fuck off or something like that. But you see, when you're trying to be the best version of yourself, in that case of context, now the people are going to teleport, as I mentioned in my previous episode and previous seasons. But you have to be, when you go out there into a new city, and everything is different and everything is more beautiful and more. Now, I'm not saying the grass is greener on the other side, it's how you water it, but I'm telling you it's the same with relationships. So when you go to those broken record meetings, so they're going to talk about your past errors or past mistakes of a person that is no longer within your personality. And that right there, it's kind of a where you're like listening to their sentences, and it's the exact same conversation that you had with them 4 or 5 times when you sat with them, and you kind of looked around and you see it's the same group of people that are serving you coffee or water or lemonade or whatever the hell you want to be served with. And then you have to look around and ponder about your life. So don't limit yourself about your age. Even if you're mid-30, mid-40, it's never too late to change the surrounding, and never too late to fight and live another day, because in today's climate, everything is so shiftable, and the people really shape-shift their ideologies and opinions like on the gust of the wind that's blowing into every city or downtown. And you have to see that in this picture, as above, so below, that it's always mostly those people who are put like this. Now, the people themselves are really changeable as the wind blows, as I mentioned just a couple of moments ago. And you have to find a new group of people that actually challenges you to be the best version of yourself, so you can together be successful. It's about consistency, and it's about reaching out to the new heights and telling people what they don't want you to hear. So you have to find a group of people that tell you that you don't want to hear, that your ego might be bruised, your ego might be broken, your ego might be telling you these people are full of shit, you have to change them. But actually it boils down to that your ego actually wants the comfort zone, the same old people, the same old conversations that you don't want to be bothered with anymore. And as you're lifting weights in the gym, or you're munching num something, or in the doing whatever the fuck you're doing, you have to understand that people that go to those locations, their goal is to grow, become more stronger, and leave that place. So you cannot go like over and over and over. So at some point you have to just, okay, I max myself to the level 100, let's fucking beat the shit out of people. I mean, not physically, I'm opposed violence, but I'm telling you that in this context you have to find a new place, and you have to tell them and no longer serve you. Matter of fact, you don't even have to tell them that you're leaving your group. You can just leave silently, without any fuss, without any noise, without any long reference, like you're saying goodbye to your old job and you're moving into the new one. Actually, you can just move on, which is the constant topic of my channel, Blade Runner 2147. My name is Stefan Heller, and I'm radioing this and telling you that in order for you to grow as a person, this life of yours has to be just exactly like this frame video, upside down. In upside down, you're able to see how are you moving and moving forward without the comfort zone, without the safety net, without the safety web. And then you can actually tell yourself when you're sitting down, if you're reading a favorite book of your favorite writers or favorite poets, and then you're just contemplating about the situations that I just mentioned in this video of mine, and you're kind of going and saying to yourself like, yeah man, this could actually make sense. It all comes down to the simplicity and repentance. So repentance should be only for yourself when you're trying to forgive yourself for all the failures that made you either stronger but made you lose something, because in life you have to fight for what you have. I'm not talking about the privileged bunch of group of people who are just, being given the silver spoon to the silver plate with the silver meal with the silver privileges. I'll talk about those who actually try to be their best and try to fulfill their joy and just to be different than they were in their previous hometowns. Now, hometown should be left at any given point in your life. You just have to see how people are thinking differently. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be 100% different. When you leave your hometown along the people, you're going to see that they still share those same ideologies and same conversations that they have from your town where you grew up, he or she. So you have to see that not all people are going to be over the night different and going to grab you by the throat and tell you, hey guys, let's do this shit and let's be the best of ourselves. No. When you go out there and you open your eyes in a new city with a new sun, with the new birds and with the new street and with the new cars, you're just going to see the situation has changed a little bit, and you're no longer forced or put to that pedestal of just deja vu, and it's all over the same circle. Time is a flat circle, as Friedrich Nietzsche used to say. But now in a different city, now you're given an opportunity to grow for yourself. And when you're trying to grow for yourself, the people themselves are going to try to bring you down to that exact hometown speak that doesn't make any sense in the first place. When you leave, you're left for good. And the plan is to leave the hometown for good, because we've crossed all the video game levels, we've maxed 100 of 100, and it's time for a new game, for a new DLC. When you open that new DLC, and when it comes to this, you just have to understand that it takes time for you to get the grip of the new mechanics and the graphics or whatever the fuck. But the point is that broken record meeting should be avoided at all costs. And also, if you're a new parent and you're currently babysitting your son or your daughter, you have to teach them that they should never... Actual apologies, I'll rephrase. They should at least once or twice go to that broken record meetings and experience for themselves the sheer waste of time where people are saying to you that you did something 10 plus years ago. In their case, as you're currently keeping an eye on your son or daughter in a cradle, your son and daughter are going to be judged the same way you were judged in life, and you have to give them this sheer protection and integrity of a personality, because if they grow a backbone in their life, it's going to be more difficult for them, but at least they cannot be manipulated as the people want you to be manipulated. All the world's a stage, as William Shakespeare Turkovich would say. So when you have to go out, the best and greatest challenge is to face yourself in the final boss game, and you cannot currently face yourself in this final boss game because you're currently wasting time whatever the fuck you currently are. And if you're thinking of leaving your hometown or leaving another city and go to another city, go fucking do it, because life is too short to waste people on social media and just to like them and be like, oh my god, I wish I was them. It's actually really simple to be like them. You just have to be very private in your manners, and you have to just skirtle around the fact that people are going to call you to those broken record meetings, but it's in your integrity to avoid it at all possible costs, because they're going to say the exact same thing, and the human being is not desired or created to repeat the same things over and over. Even though I just said a couple of minutes ago that the time is a flat circle by Friedrich Nietzsche, it shouldn't be a flat circle. It should be like a really great and amazing, unique experience when you just have to believe in yourself. And believing in yourself requires for you to drop your old habits, your old opinions, everything. So it's not a sin, but especially in my country of Sorabendia, having a different opinion after so many years is considered a sin, and you have to suffer on this cross of Jesus Christ, the Christ is King, because people cannot imagine or fathom the fact, the idea, the notion, the ideology that somebody has grown, have changed, and they're no longer in those toxic opinions they used to be. Which means I'm saying that men cannot be forever raping women and beating the shit out of them. At some point there has to be a change in shift the perspective, or shift with just say, dude, fucking enough is enough. We have to be a better version of men, more charming, more gentleman-alike, more intelligent, and more into charming women in the best way possible. I'll give you an example. So back in the day, in the Viking era, or even post-Viking era, men actually used to have beards, write poetry, fuck women, and be very charming and level 100 charm. Not all of them, but the one I'm actually giving you opinions about. So those men did not give a fuck about if they're going to be popular or what. They did what they consider for themselves to be the best. But you have to see the bigger picture, that the bigger picture is the one you actually paint from your canvas. And when you see from your side the bigger picture, it's going to be a very different approach and a very different level. Trust me, avoid those record broken gatherings, because they're just going to give you the same old broken records, and it's a song you've heard 1,000 times before, and it's no longer serving you any further possible potential 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the S3E2. I wish you the great rest of the weekend. And before I finish, I just want to mention thank you for coming to the Blade Runner 2147 channel. My name is Stefan Heller, the best writer and poet of the 21st century. And remember, become straight edge, oppose the system, teach your children to say no, make them into individuals themselves, fuck the system, Christ is King. And I will see you very, very much soon, as the French people would say. Au revoir, mademoiselle.